same time, a script for a bloody game against India was being written in America itself. Is this just a diplomatic show or a strategic betrayal? When drones hover, deals are signed behind closed doors, and the world's loudest democracy stays oddly silent. You know, there's more to the story than what's being shown. The Pahalgam attack wasn't just an act of terror, it may be a symptom of a much deeper, darker alliance. Tonight, we uncover the uncomfortable truth behind America's strategic silence, Pakistan's shifting playbook, and the double standard that leave India exposed. To decode this nexus of global power games and their impact on Bharat's sovereignty, we are honored to welcome a voice that has long warned us of what lies beneath the surface. Joining us today is Dr. Adityanjee, President of the Council for Strategic Affairs, a national security expert, and one of the sharpest geopolitical minds of our time. Dr. Saab, it's a privilege to have you on the show.
Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Sinha, for inviting me on Global Focus. I'm pleased to be here and let's have a lively discussion on this particular issue.
Yes, sir. We are sure. So my first question, why did the Trump administration approve a $397 million upgrade package for Pakistan F-16 despite financial sanctions and India's strategic concern? What's your comment?
So that's a question the Trump administration has to answer. I cannot answer for Trump administration, but this is a trend and it does not change irrespective of who is in control in Washington, D.C. Whether it's a Democrat president, whether it is a Republican president. Prior to that, I think a year before, Biden administration had approved around $450 million worth of what they called sustenance package for upgrading Pakistan's F-16s. So after the change of administration, people were very jubilant that there's a Republican-controlled administration, and they were hoping that, having friendly relationship between Mr. Modi and Mr. Trump, situation will change. And that was just a short-lived jubilation. People need to understand that international relations and strategic affairs are brutal issues.
Yes.
Nobody cares for handshake or smile or anything like that. It is the national interest.
Right.
We are seeing the trend, whether it's a Democrat president or Republican president, whoever it is, Pakistan continues to get US aid despite financial sanctions. Pakistan continues to have modernization of its F-16 fleet, which is not actually meant to combat terrorism or to be used against terrorist camps. It's an offensive platform. It's not a defensive platform.
Right, sir.
And it's just a euphemism that it is being used for counter-terrorism purposes. There are reports that F-16 was deployed in 2019 during Obama operations. Following Pulwama attack in Balakot strikes, when Indian planes went there for Balakot strikes, Pakistan did engage using F-16s, and there were reports at that time that one F-16 was downed at that point in time, which Pakistan denied and US denied. Of course, US will deny any downing of F-16 because of business reasons. And again, during the Operation Sindoor, there were reports that at least one F-16 was down. But again, there is no confirmation because US will refuse to confirm or deny downing of F-16 because who are you fighting against? Su-57s or MiGs or Tejas or Rafales. So from a arms export point of view, US will never admit that. The bottom line is that Pakistan has been successful in continuing to get material support in building up offensive capability from United States. So people who were starry-eyed with the second coming of Trump
Yeah.
on January 21st probably have their hopes belied.
So should India now rethink its diplomatic strategy with the US?
Well, India should not have gone all out of the way.
Hmm.
There is a famous saying which is attributed to Lord Palmerston of Britain. And the saying goes like there are no permanent friends or there are no permanent enemies in international relations. There are only permanent interests. Actually, although it is attributed to this former statesman, former defense minister, former prime minister of England, it is based on something which Chanakya had said. And Chanakya had said, "Na kaschit kasya chinimitram, na kaschit kasya chidrapuhu, vyavareణ jayante mitrani ripuvastatha." Nobody is anybody's permanent enemy. Nobody is anyone's permanent friend. It is by your behavior you do prove whether you are a friend or a foe. So you have to do an analysis
Yeah.
of behavior of a particular country. There's no marriage or permanent bonding between two nations. And you see very clear-cut examples that United States is dealing with everyone. They are dealing with Pakistan, they are dealing with China, they are dealing with Turkey, they are dealing with Qatar, they are dealing with Saudi Arabia, they are dealing with Russia, they are dealing with Syria. So there is no need to tie your apron strings to one country's.
So what role did Maxar technology play in indirectly aiding Pakistan's surveillance over Kashmir? Why did it erase all traces of BSI partnership after the Pahalgam attack?
So Maxar Technology is a US company that is based in Colorado. It was founded in 2017. They provide high resolution satellite imagery to various governments, various entities, and organizations.
Yes.
It's a completely US based firm. And apparently, Maxar Technology was supplying high resolution satellite imagery about Pahalgam, about Kashmir from 2024 onwards. But there was a spike in orders about the same in February of 2025. And remember, February 12, 2025, Prime Minister Modi went to Washington, D.C. and met with Mr. Trump. So while he was meeting with the Trump, Maxar Technology was supplying high resolution imagery to an entity in Pakistan which is called BSI Private Limited. And BSI Private Limited is owned by somebody by name Obidullah Said, who was living in United States and was resident of Northbrook, Illinois. And he had a parallel company in US, I think BSI International or something like that. He was indicted by Department of Commerce and Department of Justice for illegally sending sensitive computer technology and other technical help to Pakistan Atomic Energy Commission and certain research university in Islamabad that trains Pakistani atomic scientists and to other Pakistani agencies. He did not take a proper export license from Department of Commerce. In his guilty plea that he entered in 2021, he admitted that he had been selling and sending this sensitive information without proper authorization from 2000, I believe, 7 onwards to 2015. He was following his guilty plea for a felony. He was sentenced to 1 year and 1 day in federal prison. He was put on subsequent probation for 1 year and 1 day. He was asked to pay a fine of $100, and he was asked to do a restitution of 247,000 US dollars that was ill-gotten money from this whole deal. And he was continuing to say that he's sending this to his own business entity or to Pakistani universities for teaching purposes, whereas the ultimate destination and ultimate beneficiary was Pakistan Atomic Energy Commission. So the problem is that he entered a guilty plea in 2021, served a year in prison, federal prison in US till 2022. He gets released in 2022, and in 2023, he enters into a business partnership arrangement with Maxar Technology. Now, he had injunctions against him for not doing any export of sensitive technologies as a part of that conviction, I think till year 2035. So who in their right mind, sitting in the board of Maxar Technology, agreed to this partnership relationship in 2023, knowing that this guy, the chief, the president of BSI, was convicted, spent 1 year in prison, 1 year and 1 day in prison, and has been banned from indulging any exports. So Maxar Technology only can answer that. Maxar Technology has taken the viewpoint that the orders in February of 2025 were not from BSI International, but BSI Pakistan Private Limited, but from other companies. But they immediately, when the story was brought by the print on May 6th, and an email was sent to Maxar Technology, I think immediately in 2 or 3 days, they made alterations in their website and removed all references to BSI Private Limited in Pakistan as a partnership organization. So that tells you that Maxar Technology was doing something which was not according to the US law. And I think they were embarrassed, so they removed all the references. Important issue comes whether Obedullah Said and BSI Private Limited fooled Maxar Technology, or Maxar Technology knew all about it.
So should India file a diplomatic complaint or seek international action?
Who will you file a diplomatic complaint with? This is very obvious to United States government what has happened. Have they in the past responded to India's complaints? That's the question you have to see. You have to judge every country by its behavior rather than, getting carried away by lofty words or handshakes or photo ops or things like that. United States has taken very mixed and very ambivalent attitude towards India historically. I don't need to go into the history.
Right.
But even in recent times, as I said, Biden administration gave a sustenance package of $450 million for upgrading the F-16s of Pakistan. And then comes Trump administration that gives almost a similar amount, $397 million package for modernizing the F-16 fleet of Pakistan. So you go and figure what's going on. Who are going to complain about?
Yes. So how are such private business deals being tracked by the US authorities?
Look, anybody can, do an investigative report and investigative journalism and find out what is going on. Sometimes spurious reports are also far. Inconceivable that US government did not know about this, especially keeping in mind conviction of Obedullah Said.
Yeah.
Somebody has been, convicted of a felony, entered into guilty plea, went to federal prison, and has been barred from selling any sensitive technology till year 2035. You have to keep this person under monitoring, especially because he was supposed to be on probation also for 1 year post release from the prison. So go figure who was monitoring him. whether intelligence agencies were monitoring him or anybody else was monitoring him. This whole report has come from an Indian website, the print.
So this is understood. This is a deliberate silence by the US security agency.
Well, who am I to say that? People have to make their own impression why US government is not talking about it or whether Indian government has raised this issue. Uh, who am I to, give motives?
Yeah.
You have to ask either the US government spokespersons or Indian government has to seek information. But this is now in public domain. People can draw their own conclusions.
So should India investigate tech transfers happening through business fronts?
Well, India would be very well advised because whole Pakistan's nuclear program was based on stealing. A.Q. Khan stole the enrichment technology and, centrifuge technology while he was working in a Dutch company in Europe. That's a long story. And that went on for years. The Western government didn't do anything. They were complicit in hiding and all that sort of thing. So if India is concerned about it, it does not matter who is running the government, but there are permanent agencies. They need to be monitoring all this kind of activity.
Yes.
I mean, Israel does that. If Israel can do that, why cannot Indian government do that?
Yes. So is there a larger tier ecosystem in play with political and corporate support operating quietly in the West with the eyes set on India?
Look, again, my issue or my response is somewhat cynical. This has been going on. There's nothing new. Western agencies, Western media, Western companies have taken very, very, hostile attitude towards India, and they have not taken, Indian concerns into consideration. This is not the first time. India has tried to deal with individual countries, what is going on, but either they are not effective or they are not able to prove a point or they don't have a spine. And they are maybe all those kind of things. But yes, support to Pakistan has been there from the Western countries and Western alliances because Pakistan has been their ally. Pakistan was a Cold War ally. Pakistan is a rentier state. Whoever pays the money, Pakistan cooperates with that. Sometimes they indulge in double dealing. Pakistan was a conduit to containing Soviet Union in Afghanistan. So they have some dark secrets they know, and they get actually blackmailed by Pakistan because Pakistan knows their secrets.
So should India strengthen counterintelligence monitoring of foreign tech deals?
Of course, every country does that. Israel does that. They monitor what is going on between various business deals. Any country's intelligence services monitor that. Any country that has serious international issues, that faces serious international challenges, monitors what is going on so that you do not become vulnerable to some kind of attack. Not only counterintelligence, but counter-terrorism monitoring has to be done.
So how can India protect its strategic locations from foreign data surveillance?
It's just impossible. These are the days when you launch a satellite and satellite actually basically collects the data up from the sky or up from the stratosphere. So there's no way you can, hide the strategic locations unless you build them underground or deep into the mountains, things like that. Foreign surveillance, the what is called technical intelligence gathering will be there for all the countries because of the satellite imageries and satellite monitoring. So we are living in a new world. You cannot hide things just like that.
Yeah.
Issue is that you have to build up your own technical capabilities so that you also continue to monitor other countries,
Yeah.
whether they are friendly or inimical, and not be complacent that country A or country B or country C is friendly to you, so they will not do something against your interest. That it does not happen that way. Every country has their own interests. Pakistan has apparently done a deal about mineral wealth in Pakistan, signing an agreement on cryptocurrency with the Trump administration. These are allegations. So, one day the leader of Syria is on America's FTO list, foreign terrorist organizations list. Now, President Trump actually praises him as a handsome young leader and invites him to work with him, join the Abraham Accord. So this is the nature of international relations. There are no personal relationships. Foreign policy and international relations must never be personalized. There are national interests, not interests of a party, not interests of an individual leader. There are national interests that are above everything else. And countries portraying to be your friend also work against your interests. You have to understand that. There are different layers of relationships and there are different layers of commitments. And sometimes seemingly friendly countries have their other geopolitical interests, which is going to go against you. So don't feel victimized, don't feel betrayed. I think you need to develop a spine and indulge in hard nosed Machiavellian practices, just like all the Western countries do.
So a handshake in Washington may look friendly in headlines, but real diplomacy is judged by action, not photo ops. If American companies are quietly arming India's enemies while their government talk about partnership, then this is not friendship. And it's a transactional diplomacy with deadly consequences. The Indian public deserves to know who is truly on our side. As we peel back layers of diplomacy, drone warfare, and political hypocrisy, one truth stands tall: national interest must never be outsourced. While the world plays chess with our borders and lives, India must stay alert, strategic, and unapologetically self-reliant. Thank you, Dr. Adityanjee, for your clarity and conviction.
Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Sinha. My parting message to your audience is again going back to Chanakya. Vyavaharena jayante mitrani ripapastatha. Is by behavior you assess somebody is your friend or your foe, and the only friend of India is India. You need to understand that. I think you are delusional if you could say country A is our friend, country B is our friend, and how could they do this? No, each country works for itself. Unless you understand that basic fundamental, you will face the same situation over and over and over again. Get real. This is a brutal international arena in which countries, play hard, they work hard, and that's how they, rise to the top. And if you want to rise to the top, you have to deal everyone in the same coin.
And to our viewers, remember, what you are told is often only half the story. Stay informed, stay awake. And if you have something on your mind, do comment. We'll be answering your comments. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.